Guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, I got a little trick for you to keep your tips on your arrows a lot more secure, so that when they hit the target, they tend to vibrate and loosen the tips off, and you don't always pay attention, and it can really throw your accuracy off a lot if your tips are flying loose. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a grain weight check, and this arrow tip hasn't been modified in any way. And I'm going to take a weight check. Now this is without the O-ring on. We got 251.1 grains total weight. Now that's a 76 grain tip approximately. Just to confirm the tip weight. This stupid thing. So we got 75.4 grains for the tip plus the weight of the arrow. So what we're going to do is we're going to just take a little O-ring that just fits this diameter. It has to just fit, okay? So you'll be rolling that down the threads a little bit, and then over top the shaft. And just simply screw it all together as tight as you can get it by hand. And what that's going to do is it's going to expand the O-ring out, which is going to come right out to the edges, which is nice, and still nice and flat in here, so it's good. And so now you can probably shoot this about 10 or 20 times maybe before your tip decides to try and work loose. So let's see what our grain weight difference is from before. So 251.5 is what we have now. That's on there pretty good. So let's weigh up another one. Okay, 248 right on the button for this one. Now, let's put an O-ring on. Now I've seen tips that have O-rings built into the shaft collar in here, and I was kind of like, I don't know, and but it gave me a good idea for this, and because I was going to Loctite these suckers in, but okay. Now let's see what our difference is in weight. Get this thing to stop moving. So we really didn't add that much. So 248.8. Didn't really add a lot. So, and besides, an extra, point whatever of a grain or whatever is not going to be a big killer. Like the actual weight of these O-rings, I mean, it can't even, well, here we go, 0.6. So 0.6 of a grain. That's pretty lightweight. So it's not going to affect your balance any of your arrow, which is good. So let's put another one together here. I could do this like all day, but I'm not gonna. So now, and again, as you see, comes out right in that edging area, not going to interfere with anything, and you can tighten that pretty tight by hand. So works pretty good. We're gonna fire some shots, of course, and we'll see how many shots we get before it decides to loosen off, but I really doubt it's gonna loosen off too easily. Our 15-inch arrows are the same way. I've got these 130 grain tips here, so 127.4. This is my 15¼ inch arrow. These are my arrows from my CO2 crossbow, in case you're wondering. Come on. So 364.7. So let's just drop an O-ring on the scale. 365.6. Just take that off. Oh, let's Let's re-drop that on. You can't really measure it. It's very difficult for it to measure the weight of the O-ring. Let's try putting 2 on there. There we go, 0.6. So it's kind of a finicky thing as far as the O-rings go. So in real terms, are they adding weight on? I don't think so. They're really not adding anything, like 0.7. I just reset the scale, 0.7. So very, very little addition in weight, and which is good, and at the same time your tips are going to stay on. Works awesome. So you can modify it. I mean, these O-rings are like pennies a piece. Like, they're dirt cheap. So for, you know, a couple pennies a piece, your tips will stay on. You don't have to worry about them vibrating loose on you, you know, and messing up your accuracy. Because I've had that problem a lot, even with shooting my compound bow. I'm actually using 130 grain tips on it, and for the arrows that I'm using. And the one thing I find that's a pain is I'm always, after every single shot, I'm always having to recheck and retighten my field tip. So now I can do up all my arrows this way, and I shouldn't have to retighten them for several shots now, or maybe not at all, because the amount of pressure that you're actually squeezing on there when you torque that down is quite a lot, and the O-ring grabs between the face here and the face inside the arrow itself, and it just squashes that O-ring nice, so it hugs it. It's kind of like a locking ring type of deal. And so this is good because you're not messing with Loctite, red or blue, and blue wouldn't really do squat anyhow, but red would keep it in there for good. And you don't want to do that, so especially if you wreck an arrow, you want to retrieve that insert. So this will work actually much better. So you can either buy the ones online that have the O-ring already in them, which, you know, they may do the exact same thing, or you can just go and get yourself a pile of these little tiny guys, and like I said, all you got to do is match it so it just sits on there just like that, and it'll actually get you to roll the ring down. You know, like, they're not all perfectly sized, but enough. But you're gonna have to roll it down the shaft for sure, which is gonna stretch that O-ring out, and then just screw the sucker in and away you go, and you'll be good for quite a lot of shots. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.